Now today is probably going to be the hardest day, and I know it going into it. We are heading north of Fairbanks, and we're going to see what the Dalton Highway looks like. Now I've been given two pieces of advice. One was that in the dry, this should be super easy on the Honda 300. I've been told it's the ideal bike. Now I asked another rider with experience in Alaska what I should do if it's raining, and he said don't go. It's about to rain for the next 4 days, so we're going to see how far we get. I made an interesting pact with someone else at the campground because they were delaying their trip north because of the weather. So if they did decide to come up to Coldfoot, I would have an extra bunk in my room and they could use it. And the same offer was extended to me if I had to turn around and head back to Fairbanks. Now this road was built in 1974, but only opened to the public in 1994. And it's a little over 400 miles of what could be some pretty bad road. Apparently there's 40 fatal crashes per year here, which means somebody dies here every 9 days. That puts it into context. And if you're wondering if you could rent a car and drive it here, most rental companies won't allow you to drive on this road. You don't have to go too far north of Fairbanks to see the road start to deteriorate, and the weather. You'll know immediately when you hit the Dalton Highway as the tarmac just instantly disappears. It does come back at several points in varying conditions, mostly pretty poor, but this is a little worse than I was expecting. Today we're attempting to get to Coldfoot Camp, which is the northernmost truck stop in the United States, at 250 miles from Fairbanks. At about 130 miles, there's also gas at Yukon River Camp, but the gas supply at neither of these places can be guaranteed. This is where the extra 4 liters of fuel I'm carrying will come in handy. The first problem I really have is that the visor keeps fogging up despite having all the vents open, and other than cracking it halfway open, there's not much I can do. This is about what I can see. Now this road only exists because of these trucks bringing equipment and supplies up to Prudhoe Bay and the oil fields. I would advise whenever you see another vehicle coming, pull over slightly, slow down, because they can throw some big rocks at you. There's a small diversion onto the old haul road, which is narrower and rougher than the new one, but that's not saying much, before we're back on the main road again. Alright, I wanted some shelter from the rain, and it looks like the only place I'm going to get it is under the pipeline. Not sure entirely if that's legal, but we're doing it. Road surface has changed about 3 times in the last 20 miles. There's a traffic light? Is this like a detection thing or a timed thing? Oh, that was a big knock into neutral.
Oh, he just went. Shall we? Oh, better than staying wet. Alright, so 122 miles. Outside of Fairbanks. And we have found a tarmac road again. I wonder if that means we are getting closer to the Yukon River. But yeah, back on tarmac. Makes a nice change. Still a few potholes, uneven, but not too bad. Sun's almost out. And this went from tarmac to dirt very quickly and quite suddenly, as far as I was concerned. It's a little slippery, not too bad though. GPS is saying there's fuel in a few miles, so that should be the Yukon River. Shit. I can't see anything. Right, I think we're gonna have to stop for a minute and clean the visor. I guess I cannot see anything. Alright, that's just what the side of the road looks like. I would avoid it. Okay, it's a bit more hard packed here. That's nice. I think we're going to have to take this visor off and give it a clean. It's not too bad. So we were not even remotely close to that truck, and it threw up enough mud to completely cover the visor, just to give you an idea. So yeah, definitely slow down when you see them. And that, I believe, we haven't fogged up again, is the Yukon River in front of us. Oh, a little slippery. Back end of the bike's moving around a bit. So we should be hitting a bridge soon, I think. Oh, here it is. The Yukon River. Wow. There's the pipeline up ahead. This has seen a few winters. Point 1. Oh, let's slow it down before we turn onto the mud.
Now, I didn't realize it at the time, but I would be one of the last people buying gas from this tank.
Leave credit card inside, can't post, pump fuel. Leaving the Yukon River camp, got a nice cup of coffee and had a chat with a local who's heading to Wiseman, where they're having their 4th of July celebrations. So we might stop by. We got an invite. It's pretty cool. They're doing a whole weekend of barbecue and drinks and that kind of thing. Am I going the right way? Yeah. Alright, the road conditions are meant to be much the same going forward. I believe this is the hill I was warned about. Didn't expect to come across it so quickly. Definitely a steep down and then up again. Nah, I think there's got to be something worse up the road. Don't pull in front of me, don't pull in front of me. So I should just slow down. There we go. Right, there's a lot of uphill, downhill sections after Yukon River. I was warned one would be steep in particular, but to be honest, they're all fairly steep. the camera won't do it justice. But I think we're meant to see some kind of monument, some kind of finger rock shaped thing, and then the hill will be after that. I imagine that this is the steep bit, and we're just going to take it easy, high gear, let the bike do the work. Try and stay in this smoother surface, just riding the back brake a little bit. We're going to need a bit of power now, maybe all 28 horsepower or whatever this thing has. Stay in this groove. Okay, there we go. Nice truck driver slowed down and pulled over a little bit, as did I. Every time you think you've hit the steep hill, you find another one. And we have a truck coming the other way. Alright, we'll try and stick to as far right as we can, and as slow as we can. Yep, this is slippery. Oh, this is horrible. The other side is smoother, but I can't risk a truck coming over the top of that hill. And it's a little rocky to the right in that dip. This'll do. Constant speed in 4th gear. Oh, my foot just slipped off the peg. After that hill, we're back into... Oh! I was told about this washboard and potholes. Try and stay in the middle again. Pipeline's just on our right. Looks like the sun is possibly starting to appear. Now we're going to have to slow this down or ride in the muddy bit. That's the choice. I can't see a whole heap through my visor. There's the pipeline. Alright, what's going on here? Oof, that was a moment. Oh, it's happening again. Alright, let's slow it down, rethink this. What the fuck am I doing? Right. Oh, it stopped raining. That's one thing. No one behind us. It's just pure mud, water. Look at these potholes. I'm going to pull in front of him. We'll take a 5-minute break. We are over halfway to the Arctic Circle. I think in my brain I'd underestimated the mileage, or at least the time it would take to get to Coldfoot. For me, it's a whole day. Getting cold again. Hey, this is the worst weather so far. We're at the top of Finger Mountain, and it's windy, chilly, misty. There is a rest stop there. Took a break for 5 minutes, but there's mud everywhere. Hopefully we're heading downhill and not that massive steep hill I've been warned about. Not far from the Arctic Circle. I can't see the road anymore. Yeah, it's all moisture on the inside of the visor right now, because I have to leave it cracked, otherwise it fogs. I'm going to figure out how to fix that. Alright, this is the worst section so far. Found a little bit of tarmac, thankfully, but still potholes. Yukon River. Right, Arctic Circle under 10 miles. Oh, potholes again. hard to maintain any kind of speed in this weather, regardless of what the road surface is. And it's even worse when you can't see through the visor properly. Complete concentration. It's pretty exhausting. But I just got to remember, number one, this rain can't last forever, and number two, we don't have to worry about daylight anymore. Oh, and another fact I found out, the people at Coldfoot, well, are the same people who run the Yukon River. So I could probably expect the same sort of food or services. 5 miles before the Arctic Circle, the tarmac ends, and it's a downhill road. Very muddy, slippery, horrible really. So we had to take that at 20 miles an hour or less, very slowly, and pick the lines very carefully. Now we're back onto rough tarmac.
At this point I get slightly confused because the GPS wants me to pull a U-turn to make a turning off this road, somewhere called the Yukon Highway.
Right, what? Apparently there's a turning here.
Now the Yukon Highway is the precursor to the Dalton. Opened in March 1969, closed in April 1969.
What? Thank you, appreciate it.
Brother, I got some fucking balls to you. Especially that beaver slide, I know what you're feeling right now.
Right, if we can only figure out how to keep this visor clear, we would be able to get there a lot faster. If the rain would just ease up, we can stop and take a break. But we made it to the Arctic Circle. So now, 60 foot, God, it's been a long fucking day. 60 miles to Coldfoot. And who are these? Ah, bicyclists. We'll give them a wave. The GPS keeps telling me to make a U-turn, trying to send me down a road that isn't even visible. It's a little worrying when you're in the Arctic Circle and you think you might be in danger of getting lost. Okay, got to watch the mileage and make sure we can backtrack to Yukon River if anything happens. This visor problem is... I'm going at half speed right now. Still, make a U-turn, make a U-turn. Yukon Highway doesn't exist. It wasn't there. The GPS kept trying to turn me around for the last 40 miles to take me on Hinkley Road, something. I've got to look it up. Set to pothole, and that was a road I couldn't see, and I turned around to look at it for it again, and I couldn't find it. I'm pretty sure we are on the correct route, and it's only now I've switched the location to Wiseman, but it still wanted a U-turn. Only now has it agreed that I can continue on this way to find Coldfoot and Wiseman. It's fucking insane. I really was worried I was headed into the Arctic in the wrong direction, and I'd have to use the Garmin InReach, and it would have been the Garmin that got me into trouble in the first place. Feels like it's almost stopped raining. That might be as good as it gets. Thankfully we are on the right road. Bugs are out straight away. It's never going to get dark here, and there's always going to be somebody at Coldfoot, so no reason to break our necks. We'll arrive at 7:40, 8:15, 8:30, whatever. It's probably more likely. What time is it? 6:42. It's 5:42 Alaskan time. So under 2 hours. go 40 something miles. Let's just take a little break. We're up in the clouds and the GPS has switched to nighttime mode. Although wouldn't it know when sunset is here? Why would it arbitrarily decide this is nighttime? It knows what time it is. And it knows when the sun goes down. That's weird. It is as cold and wet as you would think it is. Frogging again. Not great that when you lose all vision, 2 trucks turn up. Okay, having to ride with the visor half open, so I'm getting rain in my eyes, but at least I can see. I would call this road, well, it's a little rough in places, but it's not terrible compared to what we've seen with the hills and the mud and the early potholes, which really just disappeared into the earth. Most of these are pretty shallow. I'm just trying to avoid them. I wasn't expecting this. All these structures. I'll try and find out what that is. Pump stations. Pump station number 5. And there's an airfield here. Alright, plenty of daylight, slow it down. Just gotta keep remembering that. And actually, is the middle any better? No. Oh, here. I have to say, I'm glad I did this. I'm not necessarily loving the idea of doing it all again tomorrow. It's a little slippery here. This is just before Coldfoot, about 5 miles out.
Coldfoot Camp is home to about 35 people. They have fuel. They have a cafe with some decent food, at least for the Arctic Circle, and accommodation in the form of the buildings used by the people who built the road in the 1970s. It's basic, but when all you want is a comfortable bed and some hot water, you could do far worse. The accommodation block kind of reminds me of the camp from the movie The Thing. Late at night, the slowest vehicle on the Dalton arrives. All credit to this guy. He must have been shaken to pieces. When I check my phone to see when sunset is, the phone says something it's never shown before. Not for another 7 days. I also find out that Yukon River ran out of gas. I'm presuming they get more tomorrow, but who knows?